Today I'm going to go through 9 chord progressions, which I feel portray different emotions or tones in Hollywood film music, including magical, love, sadness, superhero, suspense, and mystery. This first progression is perfect for achieving, I feel, a magical sound. And like a lot of the progressions that you'll see in this video, moves away from using purely diatonic chords, or chords just found in any one key. So starting on the chord of E minor, the progression moves to the chord of C minor, in this case a chromatic mediant, as the root notes E and C are separated by the interval of a third. Secondly, one of the notes found in the chord of C minor, E flat, is not found in the key of E minor. And thirdly, the two chords share the same quality. They're both minor chords. Once the initial two chords are heard, the progression then repeats, with a tweak in the overall voicing for both chords for some added variation. The chords of E minor and C minor also share a common note, G, which further helps the chords to work one after another, despite not belonging in the same key. Having the upper strings play, along with the celeste playing a melody line over the top, also helps to add to the magical feel. This second progression gives me a feeling of foreboding or suspense. After the first chord of G minor, we then move up to A major or a tone up. A major doesn't belong to the key of the first chord, G minor, and also doesn't share any common notes with the chord, which helps to create the ominous or unsettling feeling. For some added suspense or tension, I've also extended the original G in the bass, and so turning it into a pedal note, creating a degree of dissonance when the A major chord is heard. Again, I've repeated the two chord progression, but adjusted the second A major chord by using a slightly higher voicing for some added variation. As with all of the progressions in this video, each of the feelings or emotions I attach to a progression are of course highly subjective and reflect my own internal reactions when hearing a particular progression. You may indeed conjure up different emotions when hearing the progressions yourself. Here's a progression that uses a technique found frequently in superhero scores, the use of the major 4 chord in a minor key. So here in the key of D minor, we start on the tonic chord of D minor before moving to B flat major or chord 6. The progression then returns to D minor before G major is heard. In the key of D minor, the 4th chord would be G minor, due to the B flat present in the key of G minor. By moving the B flat note up to a B natural, and so giving a G major chord instead, it helps to give the progression an overall uplifting and brighter feel at the end. The chords also work well together, as they all share the common note of D. You would have also heard that I added a French horn melody, an orchestration characteristic heard all too often in superhero scores. This chord progression is longer than the previous examples, although really it's a 4 chord progression that's repeated twice, with the second chord varied, together with a few other tweaks. This is the first progression which is diatonic in nature. The chords are all found in the key of A minor. The first half of the 8-bar progression largely follows a descending shape, helping to portray the emotion of sadness or sorrowfulness. So starting on A minor, it then moves down to G major chord 7, before F major or chord 6. The E in the melody at this point actually turns the chord into an F major 7 chord. which, although of course is not a minor chord, uses the notes of F, A, C and E, the last three notes present in the chord of A minor. F major 7 has, I feel, a sort of melancholic feel, in keeping with the overall tone or feel. We then head back to G major, chord 7, before ultimately returning to A minor or chord 1 for the start of the second half of the progression. The next four chords are largely the same, although the second chord is swapped for a G major to E minor, providing variation and further enhancing the sad tone. The progression then moves to F major, before then landing on a G suspended 4 chord. The tension created by the suspension helps to add to the emotional impact of the overall progression. This next progression has, I feel, a tone of impending danger about it. Tension is created in a number of ways. Firstly, all of the chords have a minor tonality. Secondly, they move chromatically from the first chord of F minor. Firstly down a half step or semitone to E minor, then back up to F minor. The final chord then moves up a further half step or semitone to F sharp minor. All the time I've also kept the root note of the first chord, F minor, holding as a pedal note throughout in the bass. These techniques produce the dissonance and tension that helps to portray the feeling of foreboding and danger. Another longer progression, this one is attempting to portray love and romance. Again, this one is diatonic in nature, sticking to the chords found in the key of E minor. So starting on the tonic chord of E minor, the progression moves to the familiar sound of C major or chord 6, before moving on to G major, chord 3. Like the previous sadness progression, making use of a suspension can really add to the overall emotional impact. So a D suspended 4 chord before resolving to D major, the 7, helps to ensure the tension and release is present. Once the initial 4 chords play, the progression could of course go back to E minor. Instead though, it lands on A minor, further helping to enhance the emotion with the new minor chord. The next two chords of E minor and C major, chords 1 and 6, are heard before another D sus4 resolving to D major. You can hear I've written a solo oboe melody to accompany the chord progression as well. Here's a progression that I feel evokes a feeling of wonder and awe. Consisting of all major chords to hopefully achieve a brighter and uplifting tone, we start with F major, before moving up a tritone or augmented fourth to B major. The two chords don't share any common tones, making it a more unexpected change. The progression then moves to G sharp major, which shares one common tone, D sharp, with the previous chord. The final chord is then D major, again a tritone, up from G sharp. Another element which I feel helps add to the feeling of wonder and awe is the voicing, with the top notes of each chord rising up by step. To me, this progression has a feeling of mysteriousness, lined with tension or foreboding. Starting with F minor, before rising up to A major, the two chords feature root notes that are a third apart. Next, the progression returns to F minor, before then landing on C sharp minor. C sharp minor shares two notes with A major, C sharp and E, helping the two halves of the progression have a somewhat familiar feel to each other. The first half of the progression between F minor and A major helped give the feeling of unexpected mystery, while overall the three minor chords work to enhance the feeling of tension. This final progression, I think, gives a feeling of transcendence or wonder. Starting on the chord of E minor, the progression rises up to A major. If we were sticking to the key of E minor, this would naturally be an A minor chord, as there is no C sharp in the key of E minor. But by altering the chord to A major by using C sharp, it gives, I feel, more of an uplifting feel. There is one common tone between the two chords as well, E, which helps the two chords to work even better together. The final chord of B major further helps to intensify the feeling of transcendence and wonder, rising up a tone. Sticking to notes just found in the key of E minor, chord 5 should be B minor, as there is no D sharp present in the key. Raising the D natural to D sharp, resulting in the chord of B major, helps to add, I think, a feeling of optimism or even beauty. So there are 9 progressions reflecting different emotions that you may hear in Hollywood film music. Having a toolbox of progressions available that you can call upon can provide a useful starting point for when you need to compose music that needs to portray a certain emotion or feel. Let me know in the comments below which one was your favourite, or indeed if you feel any of the progressions give you a different feeling or emotion. Many thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.